Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be back and spend a few minutes with you and share what I've got going on, and what we've been working on, and what Michael's been working on. And yes, it's everybody's favourite project, the Boston Whaler. And as you can see, we've got the two decks in, front and back deck, pretty much mocked up. Parts of it further along than others. This is already epoxied. These tops have got to be epoxied. The underneath of this is already epoxied, but these have got to have the hinges to be put in place. We've got our 80-20 support here, which is just sitting in here right now. That's obviously got to be squared up and what have you. This back here was a little bit of a brain tease, and Michael has spent, he was here very late last night because I got frustrated and walked out about 2:30. I'd had enough. Really difficult sometimes to understand why, no matter how much you measure and what have you, why it doesn't come out right. And sometimes you just, to be honest with you, you've got to get past that and realize that one of these tops may be 1/4 inch smaller than the other side, and there is nothing you can do about it. It tends to drive me crazy, but that's the way it is. You'll see all the big gaps. Those are for our carpet. Michael spent quite a bit of time on that, making sure that we have the correct carpet gaps, etc. And so these ones hinge up this way, this one will hinge up that way. We're waiting on the hinge for that. This one here hinges up that way because of fuel. This one hinges up this way, and this one hinges this way. And the reason why it hinges that way is so we can get our fishing rods in and out. My son is cringing because I keep beating up this fishing rod. So we'll have a lot of thingamabobbers in it. So it took quite a bit of time to get the layout on this all to work and match up. And all I can say is you just need to be patient with it. Probably more so patient on this Boston Whaler than we've had to be on the two Rangers we did. I'll say this much, I thought the first Ranger we did with the curves and what have you was bad, but this one here has been, it's tested my patience a couple of times and got me really frustrated. As was said before, and I don't know what order the videos come out, but I want to address this with you. Well, this area down here is 1/2 inch lower than everything else. So if you can imagine this all on one plane, but then this entire section being lower. We had the same problem back here. So we had to work into our build, getting everything to be as even as we can. So you've got to be very flexible in those areas. The boat also, believe it or not, there's 1/2 inch difference from this side to that side. I don't know, doesn't matter. But yesterday was really testing my patience, so still got to put the pedestal in for the seat here, pedestal for the seat there. We've got to get wires from the batteries here up to the trolling motor. We have to have wires going to the front for the graphs that are going in. What's next on this is to basically finish all the framing and the fascias and stuff, and we'll probably start to do a bunch of the epoxy on this. So whilst the epoxy is drying on one area, we can be working on another area. And my advice to you is plan out your work that way. And so, like I said, we started to epoxy some of this whilst we was working on other areas, and it gets you a little bit ahead of the game. We may come in the morning, do some epoxy work, and then Michael may go install some graphs or other boats that he's been working on. Brian Robinson bought his boat in earlier on this week. Was it this week? I don't remember. But you know, Brian's always got something for us to work on for him. And Michael managed to get his stuff turned around and got it back out so he could head off fishing. Hugh is out there at tournaments, so we've been kind of down a couple of guys here, but that's just the way it is right now. This boat has gone through some changes from going to be electric to being gas, and I think you have to kind of evolve with it. That's part of it. The reason why I went from being electric to gas was basically because of the size of the battery and control unit was just going to take up so much space, and quite honestly this deck would have had to have been basically to the top here for it to work, and that was not going to happen. This particular client has a couple of, or 2 or 3 young children, and so we wanted this lip on it, and then obviously we'll be putting the rails back on the side. Michael spent quite a bit of time this morning on this, making sure we get it lined up. We've seen this before, so I'd like to bring it to your attention that when you install one of these, if you ever install one of these, make sure it clears everything. So when you deploy it, make sure it's not going to knock your graphs off the front of your boat. You laugh about that, but I'm going to tell you, it wasn't that long ago that we had a boat brought into us that somebody else had done quite a bit of the rigging work on, and they had not checked that. You and Michael were working on it, and luckily they've been around long enough that when they pulled the thing and got ready to go, they looked and realized it was going to take the graphs off the front of that bass boat. So if you can imagine, if the boat had not come here, the client could have got a hold of it. That could have been a really bad mistake. You know, people make mistakes. We make mistakes here. I'm not picking on anybody. We make mistakes. I make mistakes every day. Not picking on anybody, but what you try to do is catch your mistakes before they leave. You know, in some of the previous videos, you know, is check, double check, triple check. That's just part of it. And the more of that you do, the less problems you're going to have. So that's kind of, I think, pretty much up to date on this boat. This boat was not supposed to have these. Originally this just was going to be one complete surface area, but these are actually going to lift up this way, and they're going to have aluminum compartments, whatever the hell you'd like to call them. Sorry, my brain's not working. We'll share that with you. It has an appointment at the sheet metal place Friday morning at 7 o'clock. But the client also wants to come and see his boat, so we're going to have to let him. We're going to have to make a decision on whether or not it goes to the sheet metal place or it stays here. I don't know. We'll worry about that later. I personally would like to see it go to the sheet metal place so we can get on. As far as finishing this up, we've got to radius all these, epoxy all these. We've got to get ready for the carpet lady to come in and do her carpeting. We've got to run wires for the trolling motor, wires for the graph. We have, what else do we have? We have a bunch of stuff over here. Battery trays to put in. What am I missing? We've got to put our aluminum thing back in. This has gone back in because it holds the ice chest in place. It can be removed. I personally think it should stay for right now because it holds the ice chest in place. And living here in Texas, you need an ice chest when you're out on the road, on the boat, should I say, in the sun. And so we built around having this back in place. We've got to work on the trailer as usual. We've got to fix the trailer wires, and we've got to fix these things. Got to fix this down here. Michael's got to redo the wiring on the trailer, make sure everything's working. Obviously, we've got to put the safety lights and everything back, all that good stuff. Kill switch, etc. So that's kind of a rough overview of what's going on with this. I don't know, you know, we've just really not had a chance to get the videos out the way we would like on this. You know, kind of opening up your minds a little bit, guys. I understand it's not a bass boat, but kind of open your minds up and take a look at it from a standpoint of it's different. Yeah, it's different. So we learn new things. And I think it's important to learn new things, and the more you learn, the better you get, etc. So, you know, don't close your minds off just because it's not a Ranger boat. You know, kind of open up your minds a little bit, come along with me for the journey, and you know, I'd appreciate it if you follow me on it. So, I would like to take you down here to the other Boston whaler. Is that a Boston whaler too? Okay, we've got a house full of Boston whalers. So join me down there. So on this particular one, Michael has continued to buff this out, and I got to say, it's wow. The other day when I stuck my hand on it, it was like chalk, and today it's really, really smooth. Got a good finish to it. You know, there's not much you can you know, there's only so far you can go, but complete night and day, absolutely night and day. Before, when you touched it, it had that chalkiness to it. You might reach out to Michael in regards to there's certain stuff you can put on your boats in regards to keeping them up, and you might want to consider those things. I'm not trying to promote or sell anything, but those people that have done that to their boats the boats are wearing a lot better. The other thing I'd like to suggest to you guys that are big bass guys and have the covers on, watch the wear and tear on the hull. You know, some of the guys that come in and they bring their boats in that have the covers on, we're seeing wear on the paintwork and everything. So that's something for you to keep in mind. I don't know what a solution is to that, but as far as the sunk goes and the fading goes, Michael has some things, products that he's been using, we've put on customers' boats, and they've worked out really well. And if you reach out to him, I'm sure he'd be more than happy to share that information. I don't even know, do we sell that stuff? We don't really sell it, but we'd be more than happy to share the information with you, or maybe we could put something in the description below. But this boat is coming along. All the wood is off of it right now. He's been working on refinishing the wood, which is a whole project in itself. So as you can see, you know, working on something like this, a lot more to it. I think if you're going to work on a boat, the one thing I've found out about if you're going to work on a boat, you better be able to multitask. And that multitasking is from woodwork, electrical, finishing, cleaning, polishing, mechanical work, on and on and on. It is truly a conglomeration of all those things. So you know, you just need to kind of keep that in mind when you're working on a boat. It's a great way to learn, it's a great thing to do, but this is kind of where we're at on it. I haven't had a chance to finish up getting Michael's motor put back together, and the reason for that is we've been busy on other customers' boats, and customers come first, and that's the way it is. So that's kind of this week's update. I kind of apologize, I'm still looking for my next project boat, so I ask you again to keep me in mind. I am not taking a project boat against that, whatever it's called, against the Champion. I really appreciate some of yours comical comments about that, but I was born, but I wasn't born yesterday. So I am still looking for a project boat, and please keep me in mind, and then we can get back to what we were doing before. As I've said before, you know, if there is anything you need for your boat, whatever it is, please reach out to Michael. He would appreciate and would love to earn your business. So keep that in mind, and if you like this video, share, subscribe, say nice things, and if you didn't, say you didn't like it, what have you, still like and share, or whatever you want. But it does help him. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time.